sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be diving deep into something pretty fascinating. The Super Bowl halftime show. Specifically, how they choose the performer.
Oh, yeah.
You might think it's, whoever's like topping the charts at the moment. But
Right.
as we're going to find out in this deep dive, it's a lot more complex than that.
Yeah.
We've got some recent articles about this year's pick, Kendrick Lamar, and some pretty interesting insights into the whole selection process.
Absolutely.
So you ready to unpack all this?
Let's get into it. This is, it's a decision that involves so many different things, like influence and business strategy and even social justice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Social justice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the first thing that really stood out to me was the role of Jay-Z.
Right.
It's not just a popularity contest. He actually has the final say in who gets that halftime slot.
Yeah.
Through his company Rock Nation.
Yeah, and that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
His role goes beyond just picking the artist. He's actually partnered with the NFL as their live music entertainment strategist.
Okay.
And is also super involved in their social justice initiatives.
Hold on. Wait, social justice initiatives.
Yeah.
That seems like a pretty big jump from just picking who's going to perform at halftime.
Right.
What does that even mean?
You're right to question that it's a very unique situation.
Yeah.
Essentially, he's working with the NFL on these programs that are designed to address social issues that affect communities across the country. So, for example, they've launched initiatives that focus on things like police and community relations, criminal justice reform, and economic empowerment for these communities.
So it's not just about putting on a good show. It's also about using the Super Bowl platform to promote, positive change.
Exactly. And that makes the selection of Kendrick Lamar even more fascinating.
Yeah. Kendrick Lamar, he's coming off a massive Grammy win, 5 awards, including Song of the Year, Andy, Record of the Year.
Yeah.
And not to mention, SCA's going to be joining him.
Right.
She's a powerhouse,
Absolutely.
I mean, it seems like a pretty obvious choice just based on talent alone.
Definitely. But it goes beyond just their musical success. You have to remember Jay-Z called Lamar a once-in-a-generation artist whose work transcends music. And to really understand what he means by that, you have to look at the themes that Lamar explores in his music. Racial injustice, police brutality, systemic inequality.
Yeah.
And these are topics that resonate really deeply, especially when you think about the NFL's own struggles with social justice issues.
So is this choice kind of like a way for Jay-Z to make a statement?
Potentially.
To showcase an artist who aligns with his own social justice goals.
Yeah.
And push that conversation forward.
It's certainly a possibility. However, it's important to acknowledge that not everyone sees it that way.
You're talking about Lil Wayne, right?
Yeah.
He was pretty open about his disappointment.
Yeah.
About not getting the gig, especially since this year's Super Bowl is in his hometown of New Orleans.
It's true. And hearing his raw emotion in his Instagram video, it really humanizes this whole selection process.
Yeah.
It reminds us that this isn't just about business deals and cultural statements.
Right.
It's about real people and their dreams,
It definitely adds another layer to the whole story.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that there might be some people who don't see Lamar's selection as purely, a social justice-driven decision.
Right.
What are they saying?
Well, some might say that choosing Lamar is a strategic move by the NFL to try and improve their image.
Okay.
The league has faced a lot of criticism for its handling of social justice issues in the past.
Right.
And picking an artist like Lamar could be seen as a way to appease those critics and appeal to a younger and more diverse audience.
So it's tricky to separate the genuine desire for social impact from, the potential for strategic maneuvering.
Absolutely. And to complicate matters even further, there's also this recent civil lawsuit against Jay-Z and Diddy.
Right, the one alleging.
Yes, that one. Now, Jay-Z has denied these allegations.
Yes.
And the NFL commissioner has said that it won't affect their partnership.
Okay.
But it does raise questions about how this situation might impact the halftime show and the message it's trying to send.
So it seems like there are a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah.
We've got Jay-Z's dual role with the NFL. We've got these social justice initiatives.
Right.
We've got the choice of Kendrick Lamar, Lil Wayne's disappointment, and now this lawsuit.
Yeah.
How do we even begin to make sense of it all?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to unpack. Maybe a good place to start is like by looking back at how this whole partnership between Jay-Z and the NFL even came about.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Remind me again. When did that all start?
So it actually began back in 2019.
Okay.
And it caused quite a bit of controversy.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of artists and activists criticized Jay-Z for working with the NFL at all. They accused him of ignoring, the league's issues with racial inequality and the whole thing with the player protests and all that.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Now, it felt like a lot of people were saying that Jay-Z, as, a prominent voice in the Black community, was somehow legitimizing an organization that a lot of people saw as, problematic.
Exactly. But Jay-Z's argument was that he could create more meaningful change by working from within the system.
Okay.
His idea was that by having a seat at the table, he could influence the NFL's approach to social justice.
Okay.
In a way that just wouldn't be possible from the outside.
So is that what he's doing now with Kendrick Lamar?
It's possible.
Like by choosing him for the halftime show, is he demonstrating that impact that he's had, within the NFL?
It could be. Think about it. Lamar is an artist who is known for his powerful lyrics, addressing things like racial injustice, police brutality, systemic inequalities.
Yeah.
These are all topics that align really well with the social justice initiatives that Jay-Z is involved in with the NFL.
That's true.
Yeah.
His music isn't just entertainment. It's like social commentary.
Right.
It makes you think about these tough issues.
Exactly. And choosing him for the Super Bowl halftime show, that sends a really powerful message to people.
Yeah.
It's a much bolder statement than just, picking whoever's popular at the moment.
But couldn't you argue, though, that using the Super Bowl, which is this huge commercial spectacle, to promote a message of social justice, that it risks, deleting the message itself?
That's a valid point. Some people might say that Lamar's message could be overshadowed by the sheer scale of the Super Bowl and just become another part of the entertainment.
Yeah.
But then you could also argue that it gives him this huge platform to reach millions of people who might not otherwise ever think about these issues.
It's interesting to think about how the Super Bowl halftime show has changed over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a platform that used to have, Up With People.
Right.
And now it's featuring artists like Kendrick Lamar talking about social justice.
It really is a remarkable shift. And I think it reflects a broader evolution in how we view the role of entertainment in society. It's not just about escapism anymore. It's about starting important conversations and challenging norms and using those platforms to advocate for real change.
And we can't forget that Lamar was actually part of Dr. Dre's crew for the 2022 Super Bowl halftime show.
That's right.
Which was a landmark moment for hip-hop.
Absolutely.
So there's a sense of continuity here.
Yeah.
Building upon previous efforts to showcase diverse voices and really push those boundaries.
That's a great point. This isn't just some random one-time thing.
Right.
It's part of this larger narrative about the growing influence of hip-hop culture and its ability to address really complex social issues.
For this year's Super Bowl halftime show, it's more than just a performance.
Yeah.
It's a statement. It's a reflection of, where we are culturally.
Yeah.
And it's potentially even a catalyst for more conversations about social justice.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it begs the question, what kind of impact will events like this have on the future of entertainment?
Yeah.
Will we see even more artists using their platforms to speak truth to power?
That's something we all need to think about.
For sure.
This Super Bowl halftime show isn't just about the music. It's about the message, the context, the potential for change.
Absolutely. And for you listening out there, this raises another question. How do you feel about the increasing connection between entertainment and activism?
That's definitely a question worth thinking about. It seems like we've uncovered a lot more than just how they choose the halftime performer, haven't we? It's like we started with this simple question of, how do they pick the performer?
Right.
And we ended up going down this rabbit hole of these cultural connections.
Exactly. It's fascinating how music and business and social justice and even personal dreams all kind of come together in this one event.
So if we were to step back for a second and look at everything we've talked about, what would you say are the biggest takeaways from all this?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is that the Super Bowl halftime show,
it's
not just entertainment anymore. It's this huge platform that can be used to reflect cultural trends or influence how people see things and even to advance certain social causes.
It's interesting because on the one hand, it's this super carefully planned spectacle designed to appeal to a worldwide audience.
You're right.
But then on the other hand, it's also become this space where artists can express themselves and make a statement. And maybe even start a real conversation about, important issues.
Exactly. And the choice of Kendrick Lamar, an artist who's known for writing these socially conscious lyrics, it really suggests a deliberate effort to align the halftime show with this message of social justice. Now, whether that's coming from a place of genuine belief or just wanting to make the NFL look better, that's something we can debate.
And we should also remember that this isn't happening in isolation. Like we're seeing a lot of artists now using their platforms to speak out about social issues.
Sure.
And the Super Bowl halftime show is just like one example of that.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder about the future of entertainment. Will we see even more artists doing this? Will audiences be open to this kind of blend of entertainment and activism?
And what about big organizations like the NFL?
Right.
Will they keep partnering with artists who challenge the status quo?
Those are all good questions to think about as you watch this year's halftime show. It's not just about the music and the visuals. It's about those underlying messages and what kind of impact they might have.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Super Bowl halftime show, I think the biggest thing I'm taking away from all this is that it's become so much more than just a performance.
For sure.
It's a cultural event that can shape conversations and challenge assumptions and maybe even inspire real change.
It definitely leaves us with a lot to think about, This whole relationship between entertainment and social activism and what kind of messages we choose to amplify.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We hope you found it insightful and thought-provoking and maybe even a little bit surprising. Until next time, keep those brain gears turning.
Sweet like a buttercup, you're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.